What's up, everybody? Trip Morgan here, joined by my buddy Billy Harless. As always, Billy, what's up?
How you doing tonight?
Off-season talk continues. There's, as we said last week, there's going to be plenty to talk about this off-season. Some more stuff has emerged with Marty Hurney potentially being a GM again, regardless of the allegations that hit. We got some more owner names popping up as potential candidates to put in a bid for the Carolina Panthers, more groups getting together, another native of South Carolina. But the biggest reason we're here today or tonight is to talk about the free agent wide receivers hitting the market. Some of my favorites. Billy's going to chime in on some of his and what he thinks and where their market values fall as far as Carolina's cap space and trying to get the best value to get Cam another weapon that's got experience in the NFL is obviously going to be the big thing. So we're going to be doing all that. And y'all be sure to go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. Like and follow us right here on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. It's all at Panthers Source. It's as simple as this from your mobile device right there on Twitter. You got YouTube is also, like I said, at Panthers Source. We post all our stuff up there if you want to download it or listen to it later or watch it later and you can't watch it all right now. But we're going to get this thing started. So what's up, everybody? I'm going to do one quick hit that just got announced. The Charlotte Observer put out saying that the Carolina Panthers are going to be raising ticket prices again this year. Tickets are supposed to go up around $1 to $6 per ticket for, across the board. Season ticket holders and PSLs are going to be getting their invoices or whatnot about it. But $1 to $6. Carolina's made the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 seasons. These kind of things are expected. This still puts Carolina, though, as far as ticket prices across the league, it puts them right in the middle of that, right in the middle of the bunch for those versus other teams and stadiums to play. $1 to $6. I would hope that wouldn't make a heck of a lot of difference. I know over time, if you keep adding $6 and $6 and $6, it changes. But some games cost more than others. Yeah. I mean, you try to go to an Eagles game here, a Packers game here. Obviously, their fans travel. And guys, by the way, speaking of that, quit selling your daggone tickets to opposing fans. Quit doing it. It's unethical. That's not what we're about. And that's probably what more people are going to do now that ticket prices just went up, because places like the Eagles and the Steelers and all those people that travel so well, their ticket prices are so much higher at home. When they come here, it's like a cheap vacation to see their team travel. Opposing fans have always told me anyway, I've seen on social media sites that their time spent in Carolina and in Charlotte is always a good time with Panthers fans, which is something we take pride in here. But obviously we want to still be packing the stadium with Panthers fans, so y'all keep doing that. And, Billy, what are your thoughts on the ticket price? I mean, it's $1 to $6. It's not like it's a ginormous. There's a lot of other teams they've been announcing all week that are raising.
I have no issue with it. I think the tickets are cheap anyways. I've sat in the nosebleeds at the back wall at the top, and I've sat 12 rows from the 30-yard line. So it really doesn't bother me. And it shows success when the tickets get higher. Yeah. That's the great part. If I'm going to pay more for tickets and I'm going to see garbage, I don't want to see it. If I'm going to see great football, as we've been doing for the last 5 years, then I'm perfectly fine with raising the prices. Yeah,
if you're going to see the Cleveland Browns year in and year out, I mean, you don't want to pay those prices. Yeah. You don't want to keep seeing it go up and up and up. And I'm not sure what the Browns ticket prices are. I don't know if they keep going up. They seem to have some loyal fans, though, over there in the dog pound. But Carolina, like I said, for the last 5 years, they made the playoffs. They obviously had the big 2015 season. So this isn't – I don't think anybody should be shocked by this. But – just wanted to throw that out there. It was just announced right before we went live here.
Talking about ticket prices, it's funny. I think in the middle of the season, the Rams had the cheapest with free tickets at one time and couldn't give them away.
Yeah, and actually I saw the Jaguars are one of the teams, obviously, after the season they had, raising their ticket prices. but they're also taking the tarps off of their upper deck that covered a bunch of seats to open up more ticket sales, which they will probably have next year. Jaguars actually, believe it or not, and I learned this from my buddy Zach with the Roaring Riot, they have a very good traveling fan base. They have a group, kind of fan group that gets together similar to the Roaring Riot, and apparently they're really big. Zach knows a bunch of those guys and says they're great in travel, so that's something I thought was interesting. Anyway, we're going to move on to some GM news. Also, if y'all have been following the page, I know a lot of y'all do. You get up there and comment and discuss. Another thing, Marty Hurney is apparently right back in the mix for the GM talks. I know reports surfaced from NFL kind of saying, Jason Lockenfor reported that when Marty Hurney was charged with these allegations that the Panthers were bringing in Lake Dawson for a second interview and they were pressing hard to go ahead and find that guy quicker, sooner rather than later. And that they didn't want anybody stemming with allegations, similar to Jerry Richardson, and now, which the Marty Hurney one's more coincidental in my opinion right now. But apparently he's right back into it. The NFL's fast-tracked this investigation, and it sounds like it's going to be over really they made it sound like in the next week. So that's going to be something to watch. And if that happens, the Panthers are holding out to put Marty Hurney, kind of what they said is putting him right back in to the GM race with the other guys. So it's a toss-up right now, it sounds like. But as I said before, Marty Hurney, I would think, with Jerry Richardson still being at the helm, would have the first go, in my opinion.
Yeah. And my knee-jerk reaction to all of that came out since we went live last was the fact that we're like the good guys in the NFL. We don't put a logo at the 50-yard line. We're always, we don't have attitude.
That's all Jerry Richardson, baby.
And the Jerry Richardson thing came out, and then a couple weeks, a month later, we get hit with this allegation. I was like, well, we don't look so good anymore. But I think there's a lot of fishy stuff going on with this whole situation.
Yep, and then last but not least, before we move on to free agency and wide receiver, owner talks reported that Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and even Kid Rock. Kid Rock, that's between him and P. Diddy, man. This is getting crazy. But they apparently have been talking with groups, or a group, mainly the NASCAR drivers, and I think it was reported Felix Sabates they were talking with in talks to join and potentially put in a bid and be part owners. They wouldn't be, big percentile owners or anything, but they would have a seat at the table, as quote unquote what Kyle Busch said, and thought it would be fun, and they'd like to be a part of it. We'll see where that goes. And then just today, Sherman Financial Group CEO Ben Navarro, South Carolina native, has also put his name in the hat apparently, and he has the money outright. I mean, he owns a big financial debt firm, so he's got the money, and apparently he's wanted to own one for a while, it was said too. So that'll be something else to watch. We'll keep you informed on all of that. Now, getting to free agency. Obviously, Carolina has a lot of holes to fill. I hit some of y'all's comments right quick. Mike Strib, I always buy from StubHub or Ticketmaster from resellers. Yeah, you can still get them pretty cheap through there if you get them early. Why Jags get all these new uniforms and we still stuck in the 90s? Hey, man, we just got a new logo change back in, 2012, I think it was. Antonio Carrell, move on from Marty is my feelings. And I think you've put that up there before, Antonio. And look, I like Lake Dawson as well. If they hire an outside candidate, I think it's him. He interviewed for the job with Dave Gettleman in 2013. Gettleman got it over him, and now he's back. He's had 2 interviews. I think that kind of puts him right in place if they decide not to go with Hurney. Obviously, the NFL would rather not have Marty Hurney in on this. So,
I don't think the NFL, it'd be fair if he's cleared of all allegations. It wouldn't be fair for the NFL to say they don't want him.
And they wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah.
But I think it's clear they're pushing to have him out. NFL doesn't want any of that mess tied to them after the last few years they've had to deal with and all this other mess.
And
that's understandable from a business aspect.
Yeah. It's a knee-jerk reaction to, hey, we didn't react to stuff how we should have, so now everybody's guilty.
Yeah.
And that's...
I see your point.
Not everybody is guilty, and you know how hard that is for me to say. But everybody's not guilty. And with all the news that came out about this story, this is like one of the first ones I side with the NFL staff.
Yeah. And Justin Rouse says, I'm just here to see the Pepper Challenge, and Brandon's up there agreeing with him. And that's something I didn't point out to start the show. I've got it up there in the status. I was challenged by my buddy Josh Klein over at the Riot Report. They've been doing the ALS Habanero Pepper Challenge. And he challenged me, I think it was a week ago, actually. Wasn't it something like a week ago? I've had the hardest time in Greenville, North Carolina, finding these damn things. Billy actually had to go to a Mexican grocery store off the beaten path somewhere and find one of these. They didn't have them in any of the local chains. They couldn't find them anywhere. So he finally bought me a couple. If you're waiting on this, it's gonna happen at the end of the show. Just in case it's too hot and I need to dip, I can end this broadcast and get out of here. But that will be coming. It'll be fun, and you can't see this because there's a green screen behind me. I just realized that. It's the ghost pepper. Let's call it a ghost pepper. But anyway, that will be happening. So we're gonna jump into some free agent wide receivers here. And I'm going to show you the top free agent wide receivers. This is off of walterfootball.com. I just pulled them up. They're easy. This is their list and rankings. They had it clean and cut. That's why I went with it. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. You're going to have your own opinion. I'm going to have my own opinion. Billy's going to have his. It doesn't matter. This is what they have. This is what we're going to go off of. And I think this is a good top 10 list outside of Terrell Pryor. But we're going to go through them all.
How's he on there?
But because he was a big name last year, and he still put up those stats in Cleveland. But so number one is obviously getting all the talk is Jarvis Landry. He's had a good career up in Miami. Then you have Josh Gordon, whoever does that is taking a risk, but he can't be asking for much money, you wouldn't think at this point. Allen Robinson with the Jags, he's coming off of ACL tear. That could be something to watch out for. A lot of players can bounce back nowadays with the advanced health and stuff. Sammy Watkins is an interesting one for the Rams. I don't see him leaving the Rams. I don't see the Rams letting him go. He really turned it on towards the end of the season when Robert Woods got hurt. He struggled in Buffalo, and then the Rams offense opened up under Sean McVay. Sammy Watkins would be a great fit for Carolina, I think, and stretching the field vertically and yards after the catch. But he's going to demand. I feel like he's going to demand some money that Carolina might not want to dish out and get in a bidding war over. And like I said, I don't see the Rams letting him go.
Yeah, I wouldn't see him leaving LA.
Cameron Meredith, the Bears wide receiver, he had an injury issue this year after a strong 2017 season. Terrell Pryor, obviously, a lot of hype coming off the Browns, going to the Redskins, having a quarterback with Kirk Cousins after having struggling QB play with the Browns and had such a big season. And he just bombed. I wouldn't touch him. Wouldn't touch him at all. Even though he has nice size and he had the good season with Cleveland. If you're going to go out to free agency and spend money in our cap space, I'd rather you not go after Terrell Pryor. Marquise Lee, he's an interesting prospect. The former USC receiver, he plays with the Jags. He really came on this season after struggling with drops in the past and whatnot. Had a strong finish this year. I know a lot of people would like to see him in Carolina. He could demand some money. We're going to get into some potential market values for these guys as well. Paul Richardson from Seattle, and then, of course, Mike Wallace, the old Steelers receiver, is now, for now, a Raven anyway until free agency hits. He would be interesting as a vertical threat because I don't think he's going to demand a lot of money like he did when he went to Miami, leaving the Steelers. But these highlighted guys, Allen Robinson, Marcus Lee, Paul Richardson, are my three favorites for value because right now we all know Carolina with cap space, even if they clear cap space, cutting some players, some cap casualties, they're still not going to have a bunch of money to go spend on a wide receiver. But it seems clear that Marty Hurney in talks, even if he's not the GM, obviously that's not in stone yet, but Marty Hurney, Ron Rivera, and especially the new offensive coordinator, Norv Turner mainly stressed on how getting Cam skilled weapons, which we took as experienced weapons at receiver, is one of the biggest things he thinks needs to happen for Cam in the offense. He said he likes the young guys and what they've shown, but he wants to get one veteran-style receiver with some experience in that receiver room. These three guys, I think, offer it. They're going to have the best value in free agency. I still think Carolina may hit middle of the draft somewhere for receiver. My favorite out of this group is Paul Richardson, Seattle Seahawks, and it's hands down. I mean, what do you think of those three, Billy? Do you like somebody else up there, potentially more?
Paul Richardson, I mean, when I saw the list of the top 10, in my book, he's up towards the top. He catches the ball. He has separation. He got it done in Seattle.
Yep.
And I would like to go after Richardson, and he was a returner.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a returner also.
He played some return game for them with Tyler Lockett out. Lockett's their main return guy, but he was banged up. Lockett had a big injury last year and kind of took a step back this year after flashing some big playability. Paul Richardson came in, and he's such a good vertical threat. I think Lockett had 2 more catches last season than Richardson, and Richardson had like 300 more yards. So you can take that with what you will. I think that's interesting. I'm going to take a look at some of these market values with you guys. I'm going to try to stay on top of the comments here. Let's see. The green screen is making it look like you're holding on. That's what I'm saying. It's a ghost pepper, Justin. Justin Rouse is a Skins fan tuned in, by the way, guys, and he says, from experience, no way Pryor should be number 6. Yeah, well, that's the one name up there I agree with. But James Galloway saying Landry. James Galloway asking when free agent starts. Corey Davis, how old is Mike Wallace? Mike Wallace is 30. I had this pulled
for
up.
A while.
Yeah. Actually, no. I think he's still pretty young. I'll look that up for you, Corey.
I feel like he's been in the league for a while then.
Antonio Carrell, March 14th. James, yes, that is correct. So back to the market values for these receivers. I've got 4 of them, and it's the 3 that I highlighted for you here.
I'll look up that age.
Yeah, you look up that age. Like I said, these 3 guys I got highlighted, and then I threw in Jarvis Landry because he's right now the top for free agent market value. And this is all via Spotrac.com. You got Jarvis Landry. This is just guesstimate, guys, based off their stats, ages, compared to other receivers that had the same similar stats and whatnot via Spotrac. Jarvis Landry is estimated to get around a 5-year, $69 million contract. Allen Robinson is projected to get 5 years, $68 million contract. Marcus Lee, 4 years, $30 million contract. And Paul Richardson, 4 years, $25 million contract. And that last one is exactly why I suggest getting Paul Richardson. I posted a video earlier today of just some ridiculous he's so good at the 50-50 ball and stretching the field, and I feel like that's something Carolina's missed. Getting Damiere Byrd and Curtis Samuel back will obviously help that, but having somebody opposite Funchess and even to rotate in with some of those guys that has the experience would be nice. I mean, he knows how to stay with Russell Wilson on scramble plays, found holes in the zone. For the value, and I've also seen reports saying that he wants to demand more than $7 million, and that Seattle doesn't want to give more than $6 million a year for him. So that's all something to watch too.
Mike Wallace will be 32 August 1st.
32 August. Yeah, so he's in the 30s. Yep. So he should still be relatively cheap. He improved on his route running, it seemed, after just being abysmal in Miami, and that could have been offense. But he went to Baltimore and he flashed good play. Kind of got that back with Joe Flacco a little bit. But so that's another guy that should answer your question, Corey Davis. But yeah, Paul Richardson, 4 years, $25 million. Like I said, I know Joel Corey. He's a former NFL agent, CBS sports writer for Salary Caps Now, is saying that he would think Richardson would get easily $7 million a year, which could put him north of $30 million for a final contract over 4 years, depending on if he wants to get in a bidding war. I mean, teams are going to want him. Seattle has to decide between Tyler Lockett and him.
Yeah.
Carolina could still go in the draft and try to find that guy. There's a receiver coming out in the draft that I'll cover later down the road with some people as we near the draft a little bit closer. And wide receiver Michael Gallup out of Colorado State is a guy I'm really big on. You could get, I think you might could get him in the 3rd round. His combine, if he runs a good 40, that could change it. But I think he has really good potential. But again, that's where you're going to be as the oldest guy in the room is going to be Devin Funchess. You don't have that veteran leadership.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we definitely. When we brought the veteran leadership in 2015, it helped a ton. But I definitely think Paul Richardson is my favorite if we were to go after one. That was one I wouldn't mind going after.
Yeah. I'll pull this list back up here and make sure See who else we were talking about hitting. Josh Gordon, Dante Moncrief's not interested. Like I said, Sammy Watkins. I mean, I don't see him leaving the Rams. I'd love to have him, but we've got a lot of things going on. And speaking of that, one of the biggest issues you saw earlier today, I put up an article talking about how the Giants, it was reported from a guy on Twitter, source on Twitter, that the Giants are prepared to make Panthers left guard Andrew Norwell the highest paid guard in the NFL history. If Carolina decides, A, not to sign him, obviously, and then B, not to franchise tag him. Carolina tagging Andrew Norwell would be the biggest mistake right now. I think it's going to be an estimated $14 million on the tag, and that's going to be steep. You're talking right now their salary cap space is estimated to be around $20 million. That's going to eat 14 of it up right there. I mean, you just can't afford to do that. And then you're talking about trying to bring in somebody, some veteran help at receiver, maybe even safety or potentially cornerback. I mean, there's several holes, defensive end, that need to be filled. So I don't think that would be the right answer for Carolina right now as far as franchise tagging him. I've seen some people say something about tag him and trade him. I mean, I guess that's possible, but I don't know that. I don't know. I have to look into that further, but obviously, I guess that is a reasonable thought. Try to get something out of them.
Yeah, get something.
But if you don't, you're stuck with them on a $14 million tag, and you can't base the rest of your free agency off of that unless you're absolutely sure you can get rid of them. And the Giants need offensive line help, so that's not necessarily surprising either. Dante Ames, please keep Norwell. Yeah, look, I've been on the re-sign Norwell train all year, and look, it's going to cost the Panthers hefty if they can't afford to get in a bidding war, really, at all. They just can't do it. And you got Taylor Moton, they drafted last year. He can switch and play, versatile. He can play guard some. If you gotta think they're going to pay. I think they paid Trey $45 million last year, and you're talking about having almost $100 million tied up in your offensive line. It is a lot, and I see people's argument. My biggest fear is Cam getting interior pressure, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already having pressure on the left side from Matt Khalil.
Yeah, you got to spend the money to be protected.
Yeah.
We seem to be a team that breeds good linemen that go out and get paid and do well after they leave us. That's the only part
That's
sucks.
what the NFL salary cap does to you. I mean, I know they've been raising it every year, but you have to, and that's really what makes the NFL so different year to year. Is you're at some point you're going to have to let go of a player that you want to keep. If everybody could keep every player they ever wanted or sign everybody they ever wanted, you'd have the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NFL, and that's what makes the NFL fun to me. It sucks to see these players leave Carolina. I want Carolina to have Norwell, Trey Turner, Star Lotulelei, Quan Short. I'd say Julius Peppers, but I mean he shouldn't be too costly at his age anyway. But I want them to have all their star power. But it's just the fact of the matter is it can't always happen, and I think this is another perfect example of that. So that's going to be something fun to watch moving into free agency. Mike Stribb, I think he will be leaving. Yeah, I don't think it's far-fetched. I've said it before. I don't think it's far-fetched that him and Star Lotulelei are both gone. You have Vernon Butler. Vernon Butler is not going to come in and straight replace Star Lotulelei, and I think people are getting that confused. But both of them are going to demand good money on the market, and I think they know that. And Lotulei's kind of already said he'd love to stay here, but he's looking forward to his path and where it's going to lead him on his first big contract. Yeah. So, cut Johnson, cut Ryan Cleo, Dante Ames, yes, and that's something else. Speaking of the cap, there are several casualties with the Panthers that could free up money. You have, starting with Charles Johnson, I think he's the first one that has to go, and I think everybody agrees with that across the board. It's the first thing that pops up. He's about $3.5 million hit to the cap. You have Ryan Khalil. I saw you dropped his name in there. He's a $9 million cap hit this year. $9 million. And he's already announced it's going to be his final year. He's coming off a year where he battled injuries with his neck. Is what it, slept on it wrong, whatever it was. Anyway, he battled injuries. that might be something where I'd like to keep Ryan Cleo to help groom the next center, but it could very easily be a situation where they rework it. Say they cut it in half, you're saving $4 million. All of a sudden, you're at $7.5 roughly with Charles Johnson. Jonathan Stewart was another one. I think he was around $3.5, $4 million. I think it was, if I remember right there around Charles Johnson. That's another guy that you're adding on to that. So now all of a sudden you're right around $10 million roughly in freeing up cap space. And there's a couple. I think there was one or two other ones you could check in here. I can pull it up on Spotrac right quick. But let's see. But every million counts, obviously, and if you make some of those moves, maybe it opens it up where you can keep a guy like Andrew Norwell, keep him in house, and then still find a good receiver or whatever hole you want to fill in free agency to lead you to the draft, and then hit your guys in the draft. See, Greg Olson's a $9 million cap hit. We're pretty sure he ain't going anywhere though. Thomas Davis just did that new deal. Matt Cleo's a $6 million cap hit this year. And, guys, look, something you have to realize about this Matt Cleo contract, I still see people I wouldn't say he's worth what he's made this first year with us. But we do have an out for him next year. And if he improves, I mean, it's $6 million. And after next year is where his contract jumps to like $13 million a year. Gettleman was very smart in doing all of this. He was a very smart businessman. He was backloading the contracts. So just try to remember that when we talk about we blew $55 million on Matt Cleo, because no, we haven't spent that money yet. Actually, I think we've spent about $13 million of his $55 after this upcoming 2018 season. Kurt Coleman's $5 million. I don't think he can get rid of his veteran. Okay, so Jonathan Stewart is a $5 million cap hit this year. Captain Munderland's $3 million. I think you need to keep him around. He didn't have a great season, but it's not worth getting rid of for that money. Russell Shepard was another guy I was going to bring up, talking about wide receivers. You bring him in, you're trying to, get some experience at the receiver position, find an extra guy to replace Ted Ginn.
No.
Russell Shepard did not live up to a lot of the hype we heard from Bucs camp, Bucs fans, coaches. They said they wanted to keep him. He was great on special teams, and I think that's a spot that might keep him here. Like I said, his cap hit's $3.5 million, but as far as receiver, he didn't hit on much.
He got no hands.
Yeah, he had that one touchdown, the first touchdown of the season against the 49ers in the opening week, and after that it was just really downhill. So those are some of the options. Mike Adams is a $2.4 million cap hit if they look to go back in the free agency for a strong safety or the draft. That might be something else they can save money at. But I didn't think Mike Adams played absolutely terrible this year. So, yeah, and then after that it just gets down into nitty-gritty guys. But those are some potential candidates to get cap casualties. What is Khalil's guaranteed money? I have to look that up. Stewart does need to go. Oh, Dante Ames says cut Stewart. Khalil might restructure. I think that's the main thing. If Ryan Khalil goes anywhere, I think it's going to be a restructuring deal with Carolina. Try to save some cap space, and I think it's something he'd be willing to do. Let's see if I can find that for you. I guess he's talking about Matt Khalil. $31 million guaranteed, an average annual salary of $11. See, 2017 he was a $3.5 million cap hit, and this year he'd be 6.9. So, yeah. So I hope
I
that
say
answers
let's cut Jay Stu also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jay Stu is he would be on my list to go.
Bye.
But and that, like I said, I still think Carolina could also hit running back deep in the draft somewhere. It's not a bad running back class, but you can also give McCaffrey more roles. You also have Cameron Artis-Payne, so
yeah.
I had to find out what they want to do there. All right, guys, unless y'all have some more comments and stuff, I think that's gonna about wrap it up for tonight. Like I said, Paul Richardson, that's my guy. I'm pulling for you. I hope you can come to Carolina. I hope we can work it out. I'd also love to keep Andrew Norwell. Just have to see how all that plays out. But now it is time for it's a habanero. Y'all can't see it, so we'll call it a ghost pepper. Maybe I should kill my green screen for this. What do you think?
You could.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill the green screen for y'all. Let's see if this. Let's see what that does. Oh, still just. Oh. All right, there we go. All right, so now y'all actually get to see some of what it looks like behind the scenes here. It's just a green screen behind us. Habanero Challenge, Josh Klein, this is for you, Zach. Brandon Spence did I think it was the Ghost Pepper Challenge he did. Props to you, he raised $500. He said if they raised it, he would do it. He did it. I'm not going to prolong this anymore. I'm not drinking mine with milk, though, guys. I'm going to down it with some all-day IPA if I absolutely have to. Some Founders Session Ale here, something a little light, not too heavy. I don't think it's really going to make a difference with this.
You're going to eat it all the way to the stem.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to do like they did. I'm going to take the bite, and I'm going to try not to get that stem. All right, here goes nothing. This is going to suck. Oh. The worst part about this is my face shows so bad when I eat something hot. I like just get so red.
I would like to get Jano back, but he's got what, another year?
Woo.
Josh Norman?
I don't know. This pepper's getting hot though. Woo.
Oh, I can smell it.
Zach and Josh took this thing like champs, and I'm about to start sweating over here.
It smells awful.
Woo. Ah. All right. I got that down. I think it's hit its peak, though. I think I'm good. Whew. Hope that's not bad coming out like it was going in.
You want me to eat one?
Yeah. I actually got to challenge some people. Yeah.
Well, I'll just go ahead and do it because you probably would challenge me. I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Billy.
It's bigger than yours.
Well, you can choose between the other ones. They just look a little rotten. Woo! All right, start to hit me now.
Yeah, I'll just eat this one.
I'm going to challenge Billy. Woo! And Justin Rouse, I'm actually going to challenge you. And you should do it on, you should record it and put it on your radio station. I'll challenge you. And then Robbie Harrison, Eagles Super Bowl champion. You do it too. I don't know how many challenges I get. I kind of want to just keep doing it. You eat a pepper. You eat a pepper. You eat a pepper. Oh. Woo. Oh.
I don't do hot shit.
I think I'm good. Woo. It is still kind of hot though. So Justin, Robbie, Billy just did his. I'm gonna count ours together. Clip Brock, I'm challenging you. Pirate Radio, get on it and challenge the rest of them guys out there.
You know, speaking of Clip,
Woo.
so today
Need some Tums.
I had to run some errands at work. I was listening to the sports bar, and we were having that debate on baseball was boring in the group chat. Clip.
Now we're getting all Panther subjects.
Clip said baseball was boring, and I was like, I was about to tag him in the group because he's in our group, but then I had to go back to work. But I thought it was funny that I just said that, and everybody's like, "You're crazy." But Clip agrees. He said baseball is boring.
Woo. All right, guys. If y'all don't have any more comments and questions, I'm gonna get out of here and go down some milk. I think Billy's lactose intolerant because he can't do that. But whew. I'm also going to donate my money to ALS Challenge. That's what this is for. All right. Y'all have a good one. Keep pounding. We'll see y'all next week, and we will be discussing something else, possibly about free agency. I've also got to get my buddy Kevin Avery up here. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, see you in a couple weeks.
Keep pounding.